don't have the bio.
Hello. Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. Laura, what's up? Why are you
You'll know
laughing?
in a minute. Hi, everyone. We don't have a bio. I don't have a bio for our guest today, so we are really winging it today. Just know that, everybody, and welcome to the chaos that ensues in
Hey,
summertime.
it's Monday.
Apparently,
It's Monday. And there is a bio. I dropped it in
it's
there.
fine, right?
Yeah. I dropped the
Oh, did
bio
you?
in
Oh,
there. You're
see,
not
there's
seeing
me.
it?
That's me.
Are you not
Hold
seeing
on.
it?
Oh, I did. Never mind.
So,
It wasn't updated.
okay.
Hi, everyone.
All right, cool. So, see, we're fine. Hi, welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions
We're
podcast,
fine.
where we are not conducting a shit show on a Monday. Yay!
Or we are, and that's just perfectly fine. Either way it goes.
My partner has a
Where
T-shirt
our
that he
lives
likes
is
to
all
wear that says "Ringmaster of the Shit Show," and yeah,
oh,
I like it.
mhm. Oh, that one. That's good. That's
So,
yeah, it's about
yeah, it is about
uh,
accurate for real, for real. But
mhm.
so Laura, take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Laura. It's been a minute since I've been on, so I am glad to see everybody. I'm like, I feel like I haven't seen people in forever. So, um, but I'm Laura. I own an agency of virtual assistants and project managers where we work with small businesses who are in need of delegating the work, but don't quite know what that looks like or how to get going or what to do or efficiency and all of those things. So we work through all of that and we give you the people you need in your business to help out with that. So that's what we do here at
Yep.
ODA.
And
And
Angelique, the Lady
Angelique is
Powerhouse Solutions. And Laura and I do really similar things. We both do project management. I do product and management for female entrepreneurs that are already out there, lighten up the world with their passion and their drive, and we help them achieve their mission in the most authentic way possible, whatever that is. Lots of times, systems and processes. Sometimes just consulting. And I also do all the administrative stuff, the executive support. Um, and I do a lot of events. I host a lot of events. If you go out to the website, you'll see all those there every single month. Got a lot of things going on, as well as the podcast. I think that's about it. But the reason we started the podcast was back when we started our, it's been 5 years, 6 actually, going on 6 for me. Um, Looking around and seeing all the polished, produced Instagram success stories and not being able to relate to that, not feeling like, okay, just having that feeling of inadequacy and because I'm that's not me. That is not me. That is not my business. That isn't how it looks and feels for me. And so it didn't feel authentic either. It didn't feel like that the businesses that we were seeing modeled were relatable to our experiences. And so we're like, well, why is anybody talking about the good, the bad and the ugly, as well as and also this sense of competition versus collaboration. We are the
right.
opposite. It's all about collaboration. That's the new capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Is collaborating and not
Yep.
competing with each other because there's more than enough to go around, which leads us
Yeah.
into abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset, and all of
Yeah.
those good things. So that's what we talk about here.
Mhm.
And we have a fabulous guest today. We're a little partial to her.
We love Cristel, and you guys absolutely will. Um, if I can say this or whatever, but she is a client of Oda's as well as just a really good friend in person. We have a great times, and she understands what it is to run a business as a coach. And so we have Cristel with us, and she is a small business advisor and executive coach with a talent for helping CEOs crush revenue ceilings and grow their businesses. often with a side of humor and a great playlist. As the founder of Everyday Consulting and Services, Cristel specializes in leadership development, process optimization, and strategies that maximize profit for small to mid-sized businesses. Her work with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program has helped inject $234 million into local economies, proving her strategies drive results. When she's not coaching, Cristel is teaching, dancing, or cooking, and often all at once. Ready to scale? Cristel's your go-to for humor, heart, and solid growth plan. And we can vouch for that. Like I said, our meetings are a lot of fun. And when I first met you, Cristel, we met through another person, and we were having our one-on-one meeting. And I always come across as, because I'm non-compete, I'm not transactional, I'm really about, let's meet, let's greet, let's see how this goes and how do we connect. And Cristel was so funny because she goes, well, I am transactional and we've got to get this done, so let's just go. And she was super decisive, like she was on it, ready and willing. And I was just like, oh my God, we all need clients like this, right? That are just
Yes.
focused and targeted, and yes, and funny as could be, because she was just immediate. It was just immediate. So I was excited when we were bringing.
I have to say, Cristel is my favorite client meeting of the week.
I love that. I'll take all those nickels and pennies.
So welcome, Cristel.
Thank you for having me. I am so glad that I finally get to grace this stage with two of my favorite people in the entire universe, for sure.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yes. I have to say you guys are my favorite because you know where the bodies are buried. I have to be able to tell.
Oh, that part. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Got it. We know all the things. They're a bit dangerous, enough to be dangerous, for sure.
That's right.
In a good way.
I love it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We are putting our power together to collaborate and grow, not to manipulate and deceive. That's old school. We're new school all day.
Yeah. I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So as AI
Embracing
is
the
listening
new
to
is
this
definitely
later and pulling clips, remember this clip right here, what she just said.
That's right. It's a good one.
The new way, not the old way. Yeah. So,
well, that's what we talked about when we're changing our businesses. We came out of corporate, most of us, and are looking for that difference. And it was, well, shit, we can't find the difference, build the difference, make the difference. And that's really where, Angelique and I both focused on that was, yes, we are agencies, we do what we do, but we are definitely focused on a completely different way of looking at the way things work. And that for us is just that goes along with, again, the things that, the collaboration, the non-compete, the changing the way we work together, and that kind of thing. It all kind of went hand in hand. And I think a big part of it, at least for us in Oda, was the need to have something different, the need for it to not look like corporate, to not feel traumatized and stressed, but just know that, one, our clients we're working with them, we're all on a common goal, they enjoy having us. It's a totally different atmosphere than when you're kind of forced into something that maybe not be you or whatever. But yeah,
for sure. Absolutely.
So since we're talking about collaboration, one of the things we usually ask a guest is, what's one of the things that comes to mind when you think of collaboration versus competition, specifically with someone who might be considered in the old way, considered competition. And so how do you address that now? I mean, whether you have an example of a recent interaction or just a philosophy or a way of thinking about it.
So I am quite a philosophical person. I definitely think deeply about many, many things. So my personal philosophy on competition is most of it is friendly, right? And by friendly, I mean that there are ways that we can share slices of said pie. because every customer isn't right for me, just like every customer isn't right for you. And as long as individual business owners who may be in a similar industry, that we understand what our differentiators are, we understand where our secret sauce lies, that we're able to find customers that resonate with us the best and still get help and achieve their goals through our methodologies and practices. Specifically speaking, I'm fortunate and very, very grateful to be a business advisor in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. In our program in Baltimore, I have two other advisors who do the exact same role that I do. On the outside, they could be seen as competition, but we're not, because while we're all very different as individuals, we bring that to the table. Our past experience is different. And even the things that we love the most about business, or where we choose to focus our energy about business, is a little different. So there's sometimes when I have someone who's in the program comes to me, has a question or a concern, yes, I am available with insight and news that they can use to help them move forward. But I also give them the option and tell them to talk to this person who does the exact same thing, but can give you more information, twist it for you this way. Because the whole point of receiving new information and being in your growth zone is making sure that information is palatable and applicable. So you may need to hear it a couple of different ways before it clicks in your brain and that aha moment happens, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And different lived experiences.
We've had those moments.
Yes.
Yeah. Different lived experiences bring different value.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
And we can't have it all.
No, not at the same time. Anyway,
Right.
that's what I've learned. Not at the same time.
I have a feeling you've tried.
Even like, yeah. When we're even, it can be similar. You know, I think one of our best examples is when we're talking to a VA and we're giving instruction, and you get that blank look, and so then it's the repeat, and then the rinse, repeat, and then it's interesting because when they'll get it finally, and we get off the call, Angelique will be like, "You said it the same way 3 or 4 times." I said, "Yes." I don't know what changed in the very last one that created the light bulb, but it really is. You're giving the information. 1 or 2 words might make all the difference in the world. Whereas like you go from blank to light bulb, and on my end, I said nothing different. But for them, something clicked, something changed. I have no idea what it was. And we ask each other all the time, like, well, what did you say different that I didn't say? Or what did I say that you did? And we can't figure it out. It's just a matter of, oh, it was when the light bulb went off, it went off, kind of thing.
Understanding that recognition and that trigger that happens for an individual means that you're very clearly meeting them where they are, not just forcing them to come where you are, right? And that's when you know you're really helping people learn and implement, is when you're able to translate the information in such a way that it rolls around in their can and appropriately, that it's been able to ping pong off all of those walls, that it may resonate with some of their lived experience and something that they're familiar with, you know, because human brains, we want to categorize things with the familiar, something that we already know. So we're always looking for that thing, right, that connects the dots for that individual. And you may have to repeat multiple times. And semantics, you know, those minor details are really will make the difference, for sure. Whether you tell a story, whether you draw a picture, or sing a song, all of those things are methodologies to help people get those concepts so they stay true to them and feel authentic to their experience. And look, and they help you to put their skills on Front Street, right? You get to them to help you accomplish that goal or mission. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love the way you said song, because music is huge. I like always have something on, whether it's just a frequency or a playlist. And I definitely love my playlists. Do you have a playlist for work?
You know, I pay extra for my curse words. I've always thought that way. You know, I am of the demographic that put that first warning label on that album, and I was like, that's the one that I gotta buy. So it may not be palatable for general consumption, my playlist. But there are DJs that I rely on. I actually listen to Twitch a lot, which is a gaming platform that during the pandemic DJs have taken.
We're on Twitch.
And I have grown my friend network, my musical understanding, and my musical tastes. So I'm very fortunate that I have a couple of regulars that I listen to during most weekdays. And it adds egregiously to my Shazam tracks. Thank you, Auto Shazam, for that too. For what happens in the playlist when they're not live online, keeping me amazed and engaged.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I listen to Spotify a lot, and I actually have a Lady Powerhouse radio playlist of all the different songs that I like to listen to keep me motivated and up, especially in the afternoon. That's when I kind of bottom out.
If you'd like to talk more about that, I probably could put that Spotify list up on my website and get some more listeners out of that. Yeah. There are definitely some boss bitch tunes that I like to get in, women-centered, that are really about understanding that living in my own power, right? And sometimes having to put on a little bit of a rough edge to make sure that your message is being heard and felt by those who need to hear and feel it, as well as, engorge myself on a little bit of pride when I may not be feeling my normal superwoman type self.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some things there. And some of it, I definitely agree, are those steady tunes. Lo-fi Afrobeats is one of the playlists that I probably go to. I need to be in the workflow and just be in the zone and have it come.
All right.
We have Spotify as a family, and I have my own playlist. Sorry, I didn't know I was in delay. But I was saying I have my own playlist that I have built. Well, every so often, I don't know if my husband puts his in the wrong place, whatever. So I'll be listening to like real mellow music, and then all of a sudden this song will come on, and I'm like, it interrupted everything. So we laugh, or he'll be listening to his music, and he'll get one of my mellow songs or one of my frequencies, and he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." Wrong playlist, so we giggle trying to, but I've had several times in my day where all of a sudden there's just like a disturbance and you're like, what the heck just happened and who put that there, so I had mine up. I had to take it down because they got all mixed up and somebody was talking about the mixture.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, oh yeah, there's an eclectic, that's real eclectic group playlist. So
well, I'm going to add that to our show notes, the lo-fi Afro beats, and I'm going to look that up. I love it.
Sure.
One of the things I love to listen to is percussion. I've always been musically inclined, but I love listening to drums. Even in high school, I wanted to be the drum major that was out there in front, but I never did join the band. I did chorus instead and show choir and all that good stuff. But
it's never too late to develop a mastery of the cowbell or the triangle. Very underrated percussion.
I do have a tambourine that I love to take everywhere with me.
That's what I'm saying. Get it on the head and the hip and get it going, baby. Oh, for sure.
We had a lady in the coaching group who does the bells, remember?
Bells.
Betty.
Oh, yeah.
She does
those are beautiful.
Christmas bells is how I always remember them. But she does those, and I was like, oh, those are really beautiful.
Yeah. I remember playing those in probably middle school. We all had to take turns playing those for different songs and stuff.
Oh, for sure. That's how you started with those sticks and the recorder. Yeah, they gave her.
Oh, the recorder. Oh, Lord.
I think my mother broke mine on purpose. So I played the flute after that. So it's not like she got much relief, So
I'm a recovering flautist also. And look, I love my experience with woodwind instruments, but to my classical jazz teacher, by the time I got to junior high school, she got frustrated with me because I didn't want to practice. And
Yeah.
and hindsight is always 2020. I think of
Yeah.
now all of the flautists that I've come in contact with since that time, and I really wish I could go back in time and tell her, introduce me to these people, and you might get me to practice. Stop
Yeah.
shoving Bach and Beethoven in my face, and
Yeah.
give me some really cool cats and girls playing the flute, because the flute is a fire instrument. I mean, we all see Lizzo twerking and playing the flute at the same time, right?
Yeah.
She made it
Yep.
cool again.
Yeah. Was it around though back then?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. The
I love
jazz
Okay.
flute
Yeah.
was really
Oh
good.
yeah. Yeah.
There's
It
a
was just the
wonderful
music
woman.
each
Her album is Black and Blues that really resonates with me, and it's all this beautiful woman, huge afro on the cover, playing the flute. And
I know who you're
if
talking
she had
about.
given me this one album, I might have practiced. Just might have.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We had fun with
So-
the instruments. Like my granny was a piano teacher. So and she wasn't like when I was little, but I learned piano and instruments were a big part. Flute, like my flute, I still have it. It's so
Yes.
old that it's only 2 pieces. So I have one of the antique ones. Instead of it being 3 pieces, where they're now 3
Mhm.
pieces, I have
My
a
daughter played the
2-piece
flute, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What?" And I'm
Yes.
like, "It's literally 2 pieces, piccolo 2." So it was just very interesting. But that music, I think now, like I could probably pick it up and play, but it was the music. That was my focus. So for me, anything that was music related or art or drama or creativity, I came in quickly with. Like I was just always into that more so. So for sure.
All right. I just picked up. I could tell Cristel was Googling it, and she found it before I did. But
For sure. Bobby Humphrey, Bobby with an I, because you knew that she was a woman. That's why I really started to really resonate with that album. And I'm sad that I discovered it way after those years of me playing the flute, because I think I probably would have kept going, right? But it's okay. Those
yeah.
spaces and places were meant to start sparks, right? To be catalysts for who you were going to be in your future. And it definitely did. Look, I have a huge appreciation for all music because of those years. And look, such a replete respect for musicians who commit themselves to that dedication and practice and self-improvement. And business owners have to do the same thing. They have to dedicate themselves to that constant practice and improvement, decision making, all of those things that would get you tired. You have to keep going and persevering through, because you desire to achieve a mission, help people achieve a certain goal in their lives. All of that requires discipline, rigor, consistency, showing up every day, practicing, personal development, professional development. So the skills are still the same, even though you're applying them in a different way.
Well, and I was just going to say, somebody might be thinking, well, what does this have to do with business? A lot, because as entrepreneurs, there's statistics behind this. There's the neurology, right? The brain synapses, and musicians are able, when you're fluent, that's not the right word, but when when you are practiced, when you're committed to playing an instrument well, right, that translates into the neuroplasticity in your brain that allows you to be a better leader, entrepreneur, and all the things. Reading is another one. Like some of the entrepreneurs are huge readers, a lot of them. But everybody has their own little thing, right? Whether they're this accomplished musician and also successful entrepreneur, or prolific writer, but also an entrepreneur, because there's that neuroplasticity in the brain that allows them to be better at the things.
For sure. So just because I love to put a nice little bow on things, I love where you're coming from with this neuroplasticity through the appreciation of art and music and practice, and how does that connect to entrepreneurship. So there's a great book that I read called The Art of Possibilities by a husband and wife couple. The husband actually happens to be a composer. He's an orchestra conductor and composer. And he talks about how you can open yourself up to new possibilities, new opportunities, new creative thoughts just by kind of leaning into things being possible. And he tells all of these great stories through the context of him learning about how to help people be better musicians. He talks a lot about his work with youth musicians as well as adult musicians, and giving themselves permission to grow and be better before their journey even starts, where he's teaching them scales or improving their practice notes and delivering an F sharp. He gives them that space to make sure that they see them future selves with improvement and growth more than where they started from. It's a great book. I definitely recommend it highly. And if you like an audio book, the musical soundtrack goes along with the book itself. So you get to hear all the pieces of art that he's talking about.
Oh, that's awesome.
As well as hear the message in the book. So the audiobook is definitely a winner.
Is that on Audible or is it a different platform?
It is on Audible for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So before we run out of time,
I want books. Oh, I was saying I have a hard time listening to books when I'm trying to focus or work. Like for me, books are something when I'm trying to distract from work, or audio, same thing. But I definitely, I love the idea of the audio book, so I'll have to pick that up. I can't do it during
I'll listen to an audiobook when I'm driving to help me stay awake.
Yes.
Or a podcast. But it has to be interesting enough that I don't get sleepy. Right? It has to keep me thinking and engaged.
For sure.
And most of the time it's more likely a podcast than a book. But unless it's a really good story, and then I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? Yeah. So one of the things that we talk about on the podcast here pretty regularly is a couple different things, the challenges, right, that we as female entrepreneurs face, and the lessons that we learn from that. And then also the stories that inspire us. And it's not always our own story. Sometimes it's other people's story, and it isn't always a female entrepreneur that's inspiring us. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow and to say. So, but I want to give you the opportunity to share some of that. I know we talked in the green room before we went live a little bit about one of the challenges that you faced.
For sure. Doing what I do, it's a wild west, right? There are many places that one can achieve certification recognition for what they do. Coaching is a wide field. Strategy is also a wide field. And the challenge that I ran into when I was really in my early days was the fact that I was a college dropout, and I felt really intimidated about competing with others who may have gone to the Ivy Leagues in the world or have those bevy of certifications that go along with demonstrating their ability as a quality test taker and understanding content and material that comes from these areas of expertise. No shade, no tea on that. I want people who respond to that to be able to take that and achieve that. But for a long time, it was something that kept me from standing in my greatness. It was something that I thought, people are not going to want to work with me because I dropped out of college. I didn't complete that 4-year milestone that demonstrates that I'm an active learner, listener, can manage my own time, all of those things that college can represent for folks. And look, after some therapy and some personal growth, I realized that that was me holding me back from my greatness. It had nothing to do with the pedigree or credentials that I established. And my lived experience, both personal and professional, is pedigree enough. It's gotten me to this place. It's helping me show up the way that I do every day. And it makes the lessons that I have to give to the next entrepreneur just as palatable. And there are a lot of people, when I decide to share that with them, that I am a college dropout, they go, "You are?" And I go,
right, because the confidence is there, and being that we've talked before, I was so excited to leave school. There was no way I was going to college, and nobody in my family didn't go to college. Like that was the expectation. High school wasn't a big celebration of graduation. It was college. And
Yeah.
so it was one of those, what do you mean you're not going? Besides my mother, who was like, yes, thank God, because she was done with me in school as it stood. But my family was like, you're so smart. Why? And I'm like, it's because I'm smart. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to learn another thing from another professor that I have zero resonate zero with. I don't want to hear another lesson, another way of thinking that I'm not ever going to use. And I'm defiant. So I was always kind of the troublemaker anyway. And I'm like, that's the last thing I need, is to be in school for 4 more years being a troublemaker in college. Like, I would much rather just go and do my own thing.
Look, and paying for
And
being
for
a
me, I
troublemaker.
was so excited.
Right,
And
right.
paying for it and paying for it. Oh, I can't tell you the
Right.
number of days that I actually went to class, because there were more days that I didn't go than the days that I did go. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was ready to be in the world because I'm very fortunate, just like you. I come from a line of educators, teachers, principals. There are lawyers in my family. There are accountants in my family. All these people who have terminating degrees are surrounding me. Fortunate enough, they created me. By the time I was 6 years old, the lifelong love of learning. I have a natural curiosity. And those are the things that help fuel my drive to keep going and learning new things. And actually, look, dealing with hard topics that I may have to do more research for to even get a novice level sense of understanding. But I keep pushing through it and showing resilience, but making sure that the information is palatable to me and in ways that I can make it palatable to others. So yeah, I so co-sign with college may not be for everyone, but make sure that wherever you decide to land, that you take a lifelong desire to continue learning and evolving, because we're all works in progress. You know what I mean? The minute we figure it out, that's when we get hit by a bus, ideally, right? That we've got all situated and then it's over. But we want to have a rich, full, robust experience while we're here, engaging with people across cultures, across identities, and being able to form those collaborations, because it does come from communication and understanding. But you don't have to go to college to be able to develop a mastery of that, for sure.
How does the
Yeah,
saying go? It's either the most dangerous or damaging, or maybe it's both words in the English language. It's like 4 words.
Okay.
I already know that.
Yeah.
And it's like you
terrible.
were saying,
Yeah.
since
And most teenagers, that's coming out of school, that's what they say.
Or just that attitude. Oh, I already know that.
I already know that. I got that down
kind
pat.
of dismissive.
Yeah.
And so that lack of curiosity is so having that curiosity, because I'm a college dropout too. I never did the capstone for my psychology degree, but I love learning. I loved college. I loved going. And I still do. I would probably, if I were independently wealthy, I would be in college learning something, or hiring a coach. I did discover executive coaching, professional coaching, back in like 2018, 2017, and the benefits of it, and the understanding of the value of it, and that it is worth tens of thousands of dollars for the right coach, for the right situation, for the right person.
It's a proven learning style. Apprenticeship, shadowing, OJT, those things are legitimate training tools. On the job training are legitimate training tools that sometimes I think we forget are super value add, and that were around before college was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the human brain has already
Well,
demonstrated that.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you because mine is delayed, and I apologize.
Okay. We are excited to talk to each other, and stepping on words is par for the course.
And we never know how it's gonna shake out on the other end after Restream buffers everything. So one of the other
Yeah.
things was stories of resiliency that have inspired you. Did you have any that you wanted to share?
You know, the first thing that comes to my mind actually is how I was given the opportunity to work with Goldman Sachs. That for me is a real snippet of my own resilience as well as others who advocated for me. Being a college dropout, I technically don't fit the pedigree of the program. But I had someone who advocated for me. Huge shout out to Ann Donnellan, who is now a retired professor traveling and seeing the world. And I still follow her journeys because she's like Carmen Sandiego to me. I want to see where she pops up in the world and what she's doing. It's always something super fantastic. She advocated for me. She was very helpful in helping me understand that, look, you've gotten where you are on your own gumption. You've gotten where you are because you're dedicated to showing up and returning good quality results. She believed in me. She knew that I could take their formula and make it approachable. And she actually saw a lot of the business owners in some of the traits that I brought to the table. So she saw that common interest. So I had to continue to be resilient. There were several interviews that I had to happen with several different people, and they kept asking me about this particular lack of pedigree. And I had to tell them, it doesn't matter. I am still in business, have been in business. I think LinkedIn told me the other day it was somewhere in the teens in terms of numbers of years that I've been doing this thing. And it's only been getting bigger and better with time, resilience, persistence, my natural curiosity for learning. And look, I don't want to discount the people's willingness to accept my information and apply it in a way that helps them grow and scale and have a business that they desire, not one that's forced on them.
And the 200
model that
that you've been well, how did you say it, helped inject, right? 234 million into local economies. And that's my mom used to say, there's the proof in the pudding right there.
I'm so glad my pudding tastes really good.
All right. Now there's the Cristel I know.
Right. I'm like, there's Cristel right there.
There she is. We've got, 8 minutes left and she finally comes out. But I love that. I love that that lived experience, right?
For sure. It's where all that knowledge you've stuffed into your head actually meets opportunity, right? Luck isn't just this metaphysical thing that happens. It is that cross section between preparation and chance.
Opportunity.
That's right, for sure. And I have been fortunate enough to be able to apply those things that I have been preparing for, whether I knew it or not, to be able to help those around me rise like all boats do on a rising tide, for sure. And I'm so glad that I've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been in business? I know that you've been doing the Goldman Sachs. How long have you been in your actual business?
I want to say 15 years at this point. Nice. Yeah. I got mad with the boss one day and I said I quit, like a lot of entrepreneurs do. And I went to go be a barista to find myself. And not only did I learn how to make a really good cup of coffee, I sold most of my worldly possessions to have a lean existence. And I realized that I have something to share with other small micro enterprises and small business owners, because they're not always in a position to see the forest for the trees. They tend to be narrowly focused. with my nonprofit background, my research background, I am able to help business owners take a step back from that tree that seems to be falling on them, right? And step back and see the forest and see more opportunities, see that they don't have to let that tree fall on them. They can move to the left or to the right that's most comfortable for them and find a new path to cut and blaze their own trail.
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah.
I slung coffee too for quite a few months. I don't know if it was a year, but I loved it. But I love coffee too and chai.
Yeah.
No, I'm it's always going to be a fallback for me. I know that you want to go after plan A, right? Will Smith is one of these people that I don't have a plan B. There's only plan A, right? But my mother was also very resilient in me acquiring skills that will always be purposeful to me. So waitress, bartender, barista, all these things will be good to me in the world. Even if this entrepreneurship thing doesn't work out, I got some skills in my trick bag that have purpose across many industries, and it makes me a lot of fun at parties too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. The other day I was serving, I do an in-person contract from time to time, and I was serving plates. It's not what I normally do for them, but they were having a big party. And I realized in that moment, yes, though I know how to do this, I was like, I probably shouldn't be the one with all the breakable stuff like that. After like the third almost like drop of stuff, it was one of those, Laura, we love what you're doing for us. We need you to not pick up another plate or another glass or another shatter or something. Like there was worry, and they're like, how did you even make it as a waitress? And I was like, clearly I didn't do it long because I have zero balance. Like there's just no way. But I realized even in those moments, you realize that even, you think it's your waitress or whatever, what they're putting in, what they're doing is something I don't have a skill to do. I would not be able to do that all day. I admire the fact that they can do that and stay. And so it's funny when you talk about like you didn't have your level or that skill set or whatever. And I've always seen people where the blue collar workers, the ones that are looked less upon or they didn't go to college or whatever, are the ones that I'm always most intrigued and admired by or admired with. Like I admire them because of the fact that they had a different route, they went a different route, they have a skill set that most of us don't have. We would not be able to do that. And I love that because you're, like you said, you can make a good cup of coffee, like that in itself is just that. Coffee's so expensive. You cannot have to do that. There you go. You're doing 90% of the world doesn't do, So
Right.
it's that
We
kind
all
of
have our
thing where
lane.
it definitely having those little skills. Yeah. And we think about, we don't talk, we don't talk about that enough, like professional business owner and how successful are they or what are they doing here? And I'm always thinking, I love the fact that this person's willing to be a cashier or willing to be our waitress or willing to do this job that I'm not good at it anyway, so it's that kind of thing where always kind of being respectful, of where everybody's at. And I think that's why I love the fact that college isn't necessary. Like there's so many things we can do that don't require us, that title of whatever, you're only good if you do this or that. And that was always my fight back against my family is, I'm highly intelligent. I just never did anything the traditional way. Everything for me was a hard lesson learned. I chose it. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
But it was my way and it worked.
In that too, though. So as an entrepreneur, there's credibility in being able to step into the lower roles, like to be able to walk alongside one of your employees and say, no, try it this way. This might be better or easier for you or whatever. And I think that brings another level of respect and credibility with, and Gary Vee preaches this a lot. Know your employees, like know them, talk to them, understand why they come to work. And that's one of the things he preaches.
Yeah. It's not about money, especially when you're in a smaller business where you may not be able to pay at the highest level of salary, right?
Right.
You being an empathetic leader versus a sympathetic leader gives you more credibility, more authenticity when you're working with a workforce. And all of those roles are needed and necessary for the success of that enterprise, whether they are frontline, back of house, somewhere in the middle. All of those roles are proving to be value add, which leads to a great customer experience, which helps them return for more, right? So there is room for the CEO as well as for the person on the front line managing customer problems. Whether it's Gary Vee or Tony Hsieh or any of these experts that talking about customer service is really one of those things that gets customers to come back.
Yeah.
It's also what empowers your employees to feel needed and also to encourage them to do their best work for you and your enterprise. All of those roles are needed, because I'm always super excited to see a happy server coming my way. One, because I do love to eat out, but it means that I'm probably going to get some really good food that goes along
good service.
with that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. It's for a quality experience.
I mean, there's something to be said for empowering your employees with that autonomy, to maybe not make the final decision, but to have the opportunity to say, you know what, let me find out.
Yeah.
Instead of automatically thinking, I know they're not going to do that, or whatever. So yeah.
Well, we don't think about, I think when COVID hit, customer service went to shit. And that was one of the first things everybody kind of got rid of. They were like, oh, well, we're all at home now. Everybody, the computer, automations, we could do it all that way. And I come from retention. I literally developed teams for retention for corporate. And my first thought was, oh, this is going to be hell. And from that point on, it's always a little bit of a fight, whether I'm on the phone fighting for one of our clients or whatever, or my own bicker and argument with somebody's customer service. And part of what's brought in about that is that what's your customer's journey like? Because if all of us get rid of customer service, business is going to be null and void anyway, because I don't know for how much longer I would tolerate a business or anything that didn't have a way of dealing with their customers. So I find it very interesting, when you have those happy people and you have the ones that are giving that good experience, and you're right. It doesn't matter the money. It doesn't matter any of that part. You could tell how they're being treated. You could tell how they're being respected. And that is so much more important, because customer service has gone to shit in every company I'm dealing with.
Takes me back to what Maya Angelou has said. People will forget what you have said, but they will remember how you make them feel. In this world where we have so much globalization, the world is literally getting smaller through telecommunications and connectivity. And there's competition, like you said. The difference between them choosing company A and company B who sell the same services is how do they feel when they use your services? Do they feel like their needs are being met? Do they feel like they're having a quality experience? Do they feel like they're getting a good return on their investment for whatever it is, whether it's the shirt that you buy from Amazon and the driver that comes to you with diligence, leaving a good impression on you, to the sandwich that you buy in your favorite store and restaurant in your local environment. All of those things are about how that experience makes you feel. We are feeling beings. As much as we want to put rational and logic into our decision-making processes, it's there, but our feelings usually supersede a lot of those things.
We are driven. We are emotionally driven, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the last questions, I don't always ask this, but I do like, I am going to ask you. Are you ready? Okay.
Okay.
One piece of advice you would give your younger self.
So there's so many things that I would tell my younger self if I was able to bend the time continuum. The thing that I think I would focus on the most is establish simple routines early. They will pay off for you in the long run. By simple routines, I mean be intentional about learning something new every week, be intentional about doing something for your health and wellness every week, and love those around you and be intentional about it and do something with it every week. That would be what I would tell my younger
Nice.
self.
I
Nice.
love it. It's
Well,
beautiful
thank
advice.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us today and spending this time
Yeah.
um, talking about business and life in general and music. We touched on a lot of different things today. So thank you.
I'm ready for a part two. Bring me back whenever
Okay.
you'd like.
All right.
And I'm going
This
to
is
do a
the cool
shameful
thing.
plug just because I want to. But I absolutely, you guys know I love Cristel. We said at the beginning she's an amazing client, but she brings that in for her clients as well. And if we enjoy working with her as being her staff, imagine what it would be like to work with her and get the coaching and be a part of her group and her energy, I guess you would say. I think it would be wonderful. So I'm doing a
Oh,
shameless plug. I definitely want, people to reach out to you and get to know you, because I think what you bring to the table just with personality and your skill set and all the other thing is just freaking amazing. So we enjoy working with her. I know anybody coming in as a client for you would just absolutely thrive and have an amazing time doing it. Like it's not just
It's
a
a
chore.
blast just being in your orbit, Crystal. It really is.
thank
It
you.
really is.
Thank you. I receive all of that. Thank you so much for all those wonderful comments. And it's all true. I'm not going to argue with any of it. It's all true.
Awesome sauce. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us for this week. And who's our guest next week? We forgot to pull that up. Well, whoever it is, they're going to be fantastic. I hate to not say who it is though. But we'll be here next week. We're here every Monday live
Hold on, I'm
at
looking.
12 Eastern. I know, me too. We're multitasking here. Away. All right. So next week it is Linda Sunshine West. I am so glad that I looked it up. Linda is another one, and that's the other thing is our guests self schedule. So I met Linda back in 2020. What'd you say, Laura? She's on delay.
It
But
taking forever, so keep talking or just wait.
oh, that's okay. I found it. It's Linda. And so she'll be with us. I'm not sure what we're talking about yet, but it's bound to be. She's a hoot. She's a hoot. You guys will have to come in. She has her own publishing company, and she publishes compilation books, but she's also getting into doing celebrity memoirs, which I'm super excited about. Yes. So next week's Linda West. And so we hope that you will come back and meet with us again Mondays at 12 Eastern. You guys have a great week.